Hello and welcome back to the most amazing channel on the internet. I'm your host Rebecca Felgate, and today we're talking about the top 10 scary Moscow urban legends. Let me know what urban legends you guys would like to hear next, and also let me know if you've ever been to Russia. While you're down there leaving a comment, why don't you leave a thumbs up and share this video. Also, if you guys want to connect with me on social media, there is a link to my Instagram in the description box. Okay, Moscow, what you got? Coming in at number 10, we have the mummified man of Moscow. Moscow, like many big cities, can be a lonely place to be. In a city so vast, it is surprisingly easy to feel alone and anonymous. Urban legend has it that a man died in his Moscow apartment and wasn't found for 6 years after his death. One day, the police finally went to his home after a disturbing call, and they found the man dead, but perfectly preserved and sitting at his table clutching an empty bottle of vodka. It's always the vodka with the Russians, isn't it? Classic Russians. Vodka. The story sounds so cliche that it seemingly actually kind of is a bit of an urban legend, but there is some truth in it. It's around 80% true, I'd say. Vladimir Ledenev went missing in the year 2000. Despite his neighbors noting his absence, it took police 6 years to look in the most obvious place for him, his house. It seems over time people just forgot about him. The only reason he was found was when his bills went unpaid for so long that the bailiffs went to his home, only to be confronted with the grisly scene. Like in the urban legend, he was sitting up and there was indeed a bottle of vodka and a glass in front of him. His body, however, had partially decomposed. Now the bailiffs alerted the police, and it seems that Mr. Ledenev was a heavy drinker and had tuberculosis. Coming into number 9, we have the legend of Black Volga. The legend of Black Volga. This is a very popular legend in both Poland and Russia. Wherever it is being told, it's pretty terrifying. In the 1930s, high-ranking members of the Soviet would allegedly drive a Black Volga, a high-end limo. They would drive it around the city of Moscow looking for people to kidnap. Now, reports vary on who the targets were. Some say the car would pluck pretty young girls off the street in order to deliver them to high-ranking Soviet officials. They would then rape them and drug them and deliver them back to quiet spots around the city. Others said that they would abduct children to test medical treatments for leukemia on them. Others say the black limo was driven by the devil himself. What was he doing in Moscow? We don't know. On top of that, those telling the story of Black Volga often say that if a person failed to believe in the legend, they'd be dead in 24 hours. Coming in at number 8, we have the Moscow Corpse Collector. In 2011, a popular urban legend was proven to be true. In Russian folklore, there was a scary figure thought to kidnap and kill people, mummify their bodies, and display them in a hideous, murderous lair. He was called the Collector. Spooky, sure, but probably not true, or so everyone thought, and that was until 44-year-old Antonly Moskvin was convicted of grave robbing young girls. He then took them back to his home, which he shared with his parents. Once he got them back, he mummified the girls, dressing them up and placing them around his room. He told his parents that they were large dolls, which is very creepy. Moskvin would then film the corpse dolls and zoom up close into their faces. Eventually, the police raided his home where they found the robbed corpses of 26 females aged between 3 and 15. Moskvin's crimes actually took place to the east of Moscow in Nizhny Novgorod. The urban legends for his deeds have both spawned and solidified him being appropriated to Moscow. Coming in at number 7, we have the ghost of the Kremlin. Stalin! Is that you? The Kremlin was built between 1482 and 1495, so it's seen a lot of historical action. So much action that the political building in the heart of Moscow is rumored to be haunted by a whole bunch of ghosts. One is the ghost of an Italian architect who helped build part of the Kremlin, but then was held prisoner by Tsar Ivan III. The Tsar had kept Fiervanati in one of his towers because he knew too much about the secret tunnels and passages of the building. Now, he is said to still haunt the building, showing up just before bad things happen. It is said that both Lenin and Stalin saw him before the Great Patriotic War. Speaking of Lenin, he is also supposed to haunt the Kremlin too. So too is the imprisoner Ivan the Terrible and Tsar Nicholas II. Where are all the lady ghosts? Coming into number 6, we have the lost soul of the Gorky Highway. Once called Vladimir Road, the Gorky Highway was a road that led out of Moscow and was used by officers sending criminals to Siberian penal colonies. When I say send, these convicts were mainly made to walk. Now, it's quite quite the long journey from Moscow to Siberia. It's insane. So insane that a lot of criminals would die along the way, unsurprisingly. One day, a convicted murderer who was about to be sent off to the colony simply couldn't handle the walk. He dropped down dead and died right there on the roadside. Now, there was no time to stop and bury him, and in any case, criminals were treated as the lowest of the low. His body was simply left there to rot. These days, the same road still exists, but is now part of the Gorky highway. People who drive along the road claim to see a strange bearded man dressed in rags and waving at cars. Some people stop, only to notice that his feet are shackled. If you do stop and you wind down your window for the man, beware. The ghost of the killer is said to say, "Forgive me." Now, if you say only God will forgive you and you drive away quickly, you'll be fine, but if you say anything else, legend has it that the lost soul will haunt you until you die. Coming in at number 5, we have the bankrupt phantom of Mayasnitskaya Street. Between the 1840s and the 1870s, an eccentric couple lived at 17 Mayasnitskaya Street. The house was decorated with Masonic cult symbols, and they were the subject of a lot of whispering by their neighbors. It seems that the couple were obsessed with money and wanted to live amongst their riches, barely ever leaving the house. On one occasion, the family had to leave amid an emergency, leaving just one caretaker in their house and hiding all of their riches in the fireplace for safekeeping. When they returned, they found that all of their wealth had been burned in the fireplace. The caretaker didn't know what was hidden, and he'd started a fire to keep himself warm. On realizing that their money had been burned, the woman died on the spot, and the old man, he went mad. To this day, residents of that area of Moscow have reported seeing a grey-haired old man approaching passers-by. Apparently, he asked them where his money is. Legend has it, if the man approaches you, you too will soon lose all of your money. Like seriously, if he came up to me, I'd be like, "Don't have any, mate." Coming in at number 4, we have the Ostankino Tower radiation. The Ostankino Tower is one of the tallest towers in the world and the tallest freestanding structure in Europe. My mate Toronto's CN Tower surpassed it as the tallest tower, which in turn was then surpassed by Chinese and Japanese towers. Anyway, I digress. This tower has long been accused of being a mutant maker because of the electromagnetic radiation it gives out. In reality, electromagnetic radiation can make a person feel fatigued, disturb their sleep, give them tingly skin and possible aches and pains in the body. This is pretty awful, but it doesn't mean that it's a mutant maker. Nonetheless, urban legend has it that the tower has encouraged a race of mutant animals in the city, especially giant rats in the sewer and down in the metro. Speaking of the metro, coming in at number 3, we have the sleeping ghost of the Moscow metro. Legend has it that if you ride on the Moscow metro on the 9th of September, you may be in danger of being knocked out by a mysterious female ghost. The story seemingly first emerged in 1999 when 5 passengers on the metro suddenly lost consciousness. The young ladies were seated in car 26498, but a few of the other people in the car managed to stay awake. One reportedly filmed the group sleep, incredulous as to what had suddenly caused the loss of consciousness. It seems that the footage caught a female apparition outside of the train carriage window. When they looked into it, it seems that on the 9th of September 1998, the previous year, a young woman fainted and fell on the tracks, where she was crushed under car 26498. Each year on the anniversary of her death, she haunts the carriage, making people fall unconscious with her ghostly presence. Keeping with the metro, coming in at number 2, we have Moscow's mysterious and rumoured Metro 2. The Moscow metro system seems lovely by the sound of it. I've never been, but I've heard that it's filled with art and chandeliers and classical music, and unlike most subway systems, the Russian metro is said to be very clean. Legend has it that beneath the public subway system lies a secret layer dubbed Metro 2. The urban legend goes that during the Cold War, Stalin built a whole system of secret trains connecting secret bunkers beneath the city. This apparently extends below the Moscow metro and beyond. Now, it's said that Stalin codenamed it D6, a code used by the KGB until 1991 and still used by the Ministry of the Defense to this day. Legend also says that the underground bunker connects the Kremlin, the Federal Security Service headquarters, and the government airport. Some say there's an underground town near Ramneki primed and prepped for the nuclear apocalypse. In 1994, so nearly 25 years ago, a group of urban explorers claimed to have found the entrance to Metro 2. USA declassified government documents seem to show an awareness of a vast underground bunker in Moscow. They seem to think the space could accommodate 10,000 people. With a population of 11.92 million, Moscow citizens had better hope they're on the invite list if D-Day ever comes. Finally, we have the Russian version of Outlander's Craig Nadoon, a mystery indeed. We are, of course, talking about the Golosov Ravine time portal. The Golosov Ravine is a deep ravine in Moscow. It stands between the Kolomenskoe Hill and Dyakova Hill. Weirdly, the popular hiking spot is the center of a strange time-traveling urban legend. Like in Outlander, there are supposed to be sacred stones in the area. Now, these are the sacred stones of Kolomenskoe. They're made of sandstone and they're in really weird shapes. Anyway, the time-traveling story became popular in the early 19th century when two Russian peasants returned to their village after a 20-year absence, despite seemingly having not aged themselves. Further back than that, in the year 1621, a party of Tatars were captured in the grounds of the ravine. The men were deeply confused and they said that they came from the year 1571. As well as strange appearances, there have been many weird disappearances near the ravine, with many now treating the area like a kind of Bermuda Triangle. So there you guys have it, that was the top 10 scary Moscow urban legends. What do you guys think to this list? What do you think was the scariest? Once again, do let me know if you've ever been to Russia and if you've ever seen anything spooky. Before we leave this video, I just want to read some comments from a recent video. That was the top 10 scary Chicago urban legends. Captain Nightmare said, "Yes, this is my city. Love you guys." Yay, I'm glad we can bring you in urban legends for your city. I know a lot of you want that. Daisy Maisto said, "Can you do urban legends for El Salvador, please?" Yeah, maybe. Hello Ghost said, "Like the scary music in the background, you rule, Rebecca." Thanks. Like, what do I rule? The world? The school? The Slytherin dungeons? Let me know. Thank you guys for tuning into this video. Once again, do let me know what spooky urban legends you would like us to make next. Also, do make sure you leave a good thumbs up on this video, share with a friend, stay subscribed for more most amazing lists. I'm your host, Rebecca Felgate. Once again, if you want to connect with me on social media, my link is in the description box. I will see you beauties next time.